What it do, snackers, snackettes, snack X's? It's your boy Gage. I'm here with Frosty, Jokes, Sin. I think Domingo.
Yeah, I'm in here. You got me?
Hey, listen, you are now spun and flipped into the correct direction, sir.
Blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Go.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I want to thank everybody for hanging out with us for the Lotus X Movie Club discussion on Unbreakable. Before we dig too deep, I'm gonna treat this like an episode of Spoiler Boys real quick. I want to get a grade in some format from everybody around the horn before we have our discussion. See whether or not the discussion affects what we thought of it prior to. Frosty, since you're right there next to me, I'm gonna start with you.
I was not prepared for this question to come right off the bat.
On the spot.
Yep.
I'd probably give this like a solid B+.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Jokes.
I'm at an 8 out of 10 for this.
Sin.
I'm at a 7.
Domingo.
So like the last thing, I'm probably like about an 8.
Okay. I think I'm in the same spot. I think I'm at about an 8.
Why are we starting this already?
What up?
Hey, listen, Jokes. You're the one who went live. I can't see the chat, so
that's why I put it up.
That was Kidlet.
That was Kid. I knew it was either Kidlet or J. Robert Dees. I just didn't know which one it was.
Yeah.
Not Snake versus Eagle Shadow though. We know that's
not at all.
Nah.
Not at all. He's completely unaware.
Mm.
Yeah, I think I'm at an 8 as well. Is this anybody's first time seeing this?
No, not for me.
All right, good. So everybody was already aware of the film and how it works and what's going on with it. For a movie that's now 22 years old, I think this movie holds up really well.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
I did too. I watched it on DVD.
Oh, snap.
What? You watched it on DVD when you had to watch it now?
Yeah. My boyfriend has it on DVD, so we're like, let's do it this way.
You might as well use
the
it.
Right.
I think I got it in here somewhere. I found it
in the archives. Streaming. What? No. I want direct laser interaction with my television. And I'm gonna say that I think that the landscape that this movie came out into in the year 2000 when it released is super different now than it was then. You okay, buddy?
Yeah, I'm just trying to. I'm not happy with my lighting situation. I ain't get a chance to set it up because I was worried about the internet. But yeah, my fault. Go ahead. Please continue.
You okay? It's just when your microphone is on there, so when you clean it, I get I get the scratch. I get the, you know what I mean? It's DJ Kev Nice. You know what I'm saying?
If I press that button back here, that beat that's on the machine right now. Woo!
I already know. See, I already know. Here come Marcus. Beats and beat downs.
Right.
You ain't been watching? He hasn't been watching.
Yeah.
Yeah, the landscape now is so different than it was then, and I actually considered that I might be a little higher on this movie now because I think it should be more difficult to watch because superhero movies are a dime a dozen now.
Yeah,
and at the time, you know, Unbreakable is a year 2000 M. Night Shyamalan movie, and we didn't have like a run of M. Night Shyamalan films yet.
Yeah, probably the last good one, really. Before the new wave, or like the one, what's the name, Split. So I think after that it was like all trash after that from him.
I mean, I don't
opinion.
Listen, I don't want to get into M. Night Shyamalan specifically as far as like what happened after, but I will say that M. Night Shyamalan was on a high at the time this movie came out, right? And you only really knew him for what is technically the plot twist, right? And this doesn't really have that, not like Sixth Sense did. But it's there. It does feed it to you the whole time,
right?
But it's way more obvious when you already know, which I think is also a brilliant thing about this film, which is how The Sixth Sense is. You watch that, if you're unaware of the plot twist, once you become aware of the plot twist, when you watch it again, it's like obvious, right? And so I do think it's a little strange. I think this movie loses something if you've already seen it before. By comparison,
unless you have a terrible memory and don't remember anything that will happen throughout the movie, then it's like watching it all over again.
You were also like 10 when this came out.
Yeah,
I didn't watch it until a few years ago, though.
Okay.
I actually don't remember the actual twist at the end until I watched it. I think I may have forgotten. Yeah. But I mean, when I saw it last night, I was like, oh, okay, all right, you still had it, you know. So I really liked it. That's why I think it held up. I agree with the held up part because I didn't know. At least I forgot.
Yeah. So again, Unbreakable is a year 2000 M. Night Shyamalan directed film where he partners with Bruce Willis again. At this point, they are a dynamic duo, if you will. When this comes out in 2000, now you're adding Samuel L. Jackson to the mix, who is not at the pinnacle of who Samuel L. Jackson is, but is literally on that rise. You know what I mean? At the time.
I think Pulp Fiction was before that, so he was already there.
Yeah. It was, but that's not his pinnacle, though.
Yeah, that was
like
still
he's not. Like he's like Pulp Fiction definitely was before this, but he's not. He hasn't quite become a meme of himself just yet. Like him, because in this movie, he doesn't really do any of what is the. If Samuel L. Jackson is in a movie,
he's not Samuel L. Jackson.
But I'm
have that yet.
Yeah, but the actual part. Well, look, let's get to that part. But there was a lot of good dialogue in there. But I was really surprised by that, and that actually fit him in that part. Especially when the dude tried to buy the art, and he's that whole monologue. I was like, yo, that's him all the way.
Yeah, it definitely has.
And my fault about
like watching it now, you hear pieces of like Nick Fury or whatever. Like sometimes in it when you're watching it or whatever. But again, that's as a result of that's after the fact. So, this movie was a movie that kind of came out of nowhere, had a decent budget because Sixth Sense didn't really have a great budget, but now M. Night is who M. Night is, coupled with Bruce Willis, and again, you're adding in Sam Jackson, and the two of them together, and we might really have something. So the expectations for this movie, I think, were super high. And we'll get into it, but I remember walking out of this movie when I saw it the first time in the theater and literally going, I think I just watched the best superhero origin story I've ever seen.
I mean, coming from that particular time, which you said earlier, and I got one point where when you said earlier about far as being a superhero movie, it hadn't really. I don't even know if the first Hulk was out. I think it may have came out. It was about to come out. I don't know. The one with the other guy, and not Edward Norton. But I would agree with that because it's like it tells a story, and then even at the can I tell the end? You know what he said at the end? Did I say that?
I mean,
Oh, you know
I'm,
when he said like, you know, you can always tell who the hero and the villain's going to be. He's the complete opposite of the hero. When he said that was actually a really cool thing to say. And then I don't know if you guys caught it. Did you catch it when he was in the actual scene when he was right before the end, and basically he's sitting down in between Thor and Shield and some other comic book covers on the internet.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, that was dope. That was a really good play. But yeah, I would agree with that. I would say it's really interesting how they told the story. And if you really wasn't familiar with M. Night being like the twist at the end, it was a good watch to try to find out. And then the same thing with shaking the hands and touching the hands and getting the imaging. That was actually pretty cool. I like that. So that's what got me in the end. That's when I sat up in front of the TV and was like, I don't remember this. But that was a really good way to actually tell the story at the end and then just walk off. Pretty good. So yeah, I would agree with that.
Jokes, when was the first time you saw this movie?
Initial DVD release. Didn't see it in theater, but when it came out on DVD, it was a purchase that we made, and so there's regular DVD. This was back when they did like paper type DVD case. Like it was one of those. It had the sleeve, and then it rolled out, like it folded out. Like they had the special edition of it, like it rolled out. Yeah, it had like the 2 discs and the sleeve. Yeah, so but it was the initial DVD release of it.
Sen, did you see this in theaters?
To be completely honest, I can't remember if I saw this in theaters first or with my man Alex and all of us in the basement during that time and period of our life. If that was one of the things we just ran and got because we was on our movie kick. I can't remember which one it was. It's been so long, but I do remember like M. Night Shyamalan with his twist and stuff like that. That being a thing that like, oh, you know, we was kind of like excited about like at the end of it, like how it all came out. But yeah, I honestly can't remember if it was theater or at home first. I cannot remember.
Domingo, you saw this in the theater?
Yeah, I saw it in the theater.
You remember if you saw it more than once in the theater?
I don't think I actually had The Sixth Sense, definitely, but this one I think I saw it once and I was pretty happy with it. And I think I got it on DVD and watched it on TV.
Step away real quick.
Okay.
And done that. And so from that part, yeah, I remember seeing it in the theater, seeing it a couple of times at home. But this was the first time I've seen it in a long time, which probably makes it for like I forgot the twist at the end. But it was natural though.
I haven't seen it for a long time. It's probably been a decade or more since I've actually watched this movie. And that's even with the sequels coming out after the fact. But I want to. So let's talk a little bit about placement, the time, the characters. I think not any extra points for being in Philly, but there's our second movie this year that was based in Philly because we did Rocky.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying.
This movie really could have been anywhere. Like it doesn't like the fact that it's in Philly and they talk about it doesn't actually really do anything for this movie. I don't feel like the setting of this film isn't really important to it other than the fact that it's not like it doesn't take place in the woods. You know what I'm saying? Somewhere like it's not. It helps to ground it in a certain level of reality. So I guess what I mean by that for me personally, again, we're talking the year 2000 and X-Men is already a thing, but even that doesn't do a great job of like grounding these superpowered individuals in a super reality, other than the fact that the first one, the last act takes place on the Statue of Liberty. We know it's supposed to be like New York, upstate New York, but like again, it's not really important to what's going on. I do think that something about the way what this does do is it does tie Bruce Willis's character as David Dunn to being an everyman, just an everyday, regular Joe Schmo riding the train home, right? Do you guys feel the same way about the setting? Does the setting like?
Yeah, I don't think it didn't mean nothing. Like if they'd have shown like maybe like a landmark here and there or something that would have had some type of reference, but this could have literally taken place in a suburban town or whatnot ever. It doesn't really make a difference at all.
Yeah.
I mean, it could have been Chicago
Yeah.
or Detroit.
Yeah, it had to be some sort of like larger metropolis just because for the sheer like probability of it. Like you said, he made 3 disasters happen until he found one person. So
Right.
in a rural area, you can't pull that kind of thing off multiple times.
Yeah. I like the fact that it was in Philly just to be different from LA, New York, and stuff like that. But
I agree with that.
But yeah, it doesn't like Joe just said, it didn't show landmarks or nothing like that. It wasn't like all these Philly references and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But
there were references to specifically like Temple, right? Like there were references to that I do. Again, I think it does ground it a little bit more, and it does make him more of just an everyman, just an everyday kind of a regular dude, because sort of like you said, Sin, everything always takes place in either LA, Chicago,
New York,
you know, whatever. And it makes it easier that the expectation is that, oh, well, yeah, that's where superheroes are for some reason. Like so.
And most of the time when you put like a movie in New York is already a character as well. So like you have all your things. You have the city of New York. It's one of the actual people in the cast. So it didn't get that feel like it was in there, but it was good that they had referenced a different city to kind of give you a different preference. I don't even know if when he went to the football field, did they have like the Eagles or anybody that was like part of that whole entire thing, like a team that looks like it was from there. So just placing the word Philly in it just kind of took you out of that part. But yeah, it wasn't a major pack. It could have been anywhere.
Yeah, so they spend.
And there it goes.
There he is.
What happened? Me?
Know who it is.
Marcus, of course.
Hey, yo, listen. You should be watching it right now. Matter of fact, you even got the season 2, episode 1 before we even went back and did it. So don't worry, yo, we good. We got some joints, man. This will be crazy.
My man. You know, there's something I feel like is very special about the way M. Night Shyamalan chooses to shoot. You know, the opening of this movie just starts on a black screen with words about comic books. The number of comic books sold in the country, how many they sold every week, how many that means are sold every year. And so it's like, it does preface what you're watching in a way that's like, what are they talking about?
What does that mean? I don't know what that means.
That's the band hammer.
That's that band hammer.
Band hammer.
Okay.
That's for Marcus.
That's for Marcus, yeah.
Yeah.
So it does kind of set you up in a way again, but like when you hear about this, you know, the title of the movie, if you look at the box art for the movie, nothing about it says superhero or comic books or anything of the sort. So to open the film,
the box art's pretty brilliant. Like you said, it has nothing to do with superheroes, but it's exactly what the movie's about. The name Unbreakable and Glass Shattering. Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson.
Like, I had no idea. I had no idea
movie,
going
then you look
into
at
it.
the case again, and you're like,
it makes sense.
It's a really smart play, I think. Yeah, that hammer. Leave it out of there. Go. Facts.
Glass.
So you open with that. You open with the birth of Elijah Price in 74. I think it was 1974. In a department store, right? And the baby's just crying and crying and crying, and the doctor comes in, take a look at the baby, and then begins to ask where the complications. Nah, everything was cool.
Who dropped?
And then my man goes in there.
He's serious.
Did you drop this baby?
He was like, you ready to fight somebody?
Like, listen, Elijah's mother says, "Can I have my baby back?" And my man goes, "Hey, did you drop this baby?" Which, like, if I was that mother, I'd be like, "What? Like, what do you mean?"
She doesn't say anything. She's just like sitting there, like, "Baby."
Yeah, like holding, like what?
Well, she just did push a tiny human out of
Absolutely, but like when a mother gives birth, like if they hear, "Did you drop this baby?" Like they're obviously gonna go into like high alert. Like, what the hell is wrong with
like
my
it
kid?
I mean, listen, I can see it happening that way in the 70s. I don't know. You know what I mean? The lady was like,
"That's some young 70s, though. That's like she wasn't even supposed to be there, let alone having like a baby in that joint." It's like, what do you mean? Are you kidding me? I was like,
"Of course not."
Exactly.
I didn't drop this baby.
Now.
I like
baby's arms are broken, the legs are broken,
ribs.
Yeah, like we gonna have to. Yeah.
Oh, my fault. That was late. That was late.
And said like, I've never seen this before, right? Like I this is a thing I've never seen. You know, and not that we get, you know, some. I don't know, like he doesn't go into like, I've been a doctor for 24 years and I've never seen this or nothing like that. Like he just, you know, but he makes it clear that like there's something that's really wrong. And as a viewer, again, you have no idea what that really means, what's going on, right? Like I was waiting for him to be like his head is shaped like a football or like, you know, something, you know, the arms are broke, the legs are broke. Okay. You know, and we cut to the train. And just some really good shots of like Bruce Willis's view of the kid, just kind of up in front. And just then we switch to the perspective of seeing Bruce from the side of the seats in front of him. And this back and forth between this one seat and his head against the window, and back to this view of him in between the seats. And then the young lady comes, and as if he's by himself, you can't even really see her at first. And they cut to like, it's just this perfectly framed image of her going to put her stuff up, you know, above them in the seat, and her midriff with the tattoo. And you just have this perfect view of him looking at her midriff, and then this quick little, let me get this ring up on my finger right quick, and you're immediately like, oh, this dude's despicable. You know what I mean? Like,
since I didn't remember it from the first time watching it, I was like, oh, this D-bag. Why is this movie about him? Like,
oh my god! Oh my god! I mean, I like the fact when that happened, but I was really more amazed about the shots again, because, like, you know, looking at the fact that coming from one seat to the next and having that conversation, and then of course the awkward part, you know, when she's like, "Yo, I'm married," and I'm like, I thought Money was married too, and I said, okay, well, we get into that, and then she gotta go, but it was just that whole perspective. I was loving that shot. That was I marked it down like one of the actual main notes that I was taking class on, so it was pretty nice. Love that joint.
It's an impressive bit of cinematography. I mean, I couldn't tell you that nobody's ever done it before, you know, whatever. But it does literally take just this seat, you know what I mean, and use it to tell a story without really saying a lot, right? You can tell that like he's tired, that he's, you know, something's going on with him. You don't really know what, and he doesn't begin to brighten up or to kind of until he begins to try to have this conversation, you know, with this young lady, and they do a lot of foreshadowing in just these moments, right? Oh, hey, here's a magazine. He tries to like hand her like a fashion magazine or something. She's like, nah, I'm good, but I want that one there. And then they begin to have this discussion about sports, right? And it turns out that she's a scout, right? I'm headed to Temple to see this guy. You know, he runs the 4.5 and like a 4, you know what I mean? He runs in like a 4.3. You know, he's incredible. And then she says to him, "You like football?" And he's like, nah, not really. You know what I mean? Which again is a lot of foreshadowing.
Mhm.
But at the time, you're just like, oh, he's just a he don't care about sports. He's not into whatever. He don't really have anything to talk to her about, right? And so as he begins to you know, as Sin said, shoot his shot. Which, you know, Sin, I feel like you were trying to write him, you know, give him a pass for trying to shoot his shot, even though he tucked his ring away. So go ahead. I'm gonna let you walk into that trap.
What? No, we didn't know at the time, but he separated. You know what I'm saying? Like,
we don't know at the time.
We don't know that. We don't see my man.
He an older cat trying to see if he still got it. You know what I mean? I wasn't bad at it. Like, he didn't go through with it. He tried. You know what I mean? He just tried to see if he still got it.
The only reason he didn't go through with it was because she shot him down and got up and walked off.
Yeah, no, he messed up that bad completely. Like, he fumbled that completely. Yeah. Yeah, he dropped all that.
I mean, you know what? Here's the thing. I don't know. I guess once he was like, I don't really want to talk about sports. I don't know nothing. And he was like, hey, so how long you finna be in Philly?
Come on. And that's it.
I'm just going to cut to the chase. How long?
He was
like, game over because you dropped the ball. Game over.
Yeah. It wasn't smooth at all. Temple, huh? How long are you going to be in Philadelphia? It was bad. It was bad. And she's like, you know, I'm, you know what I'm saying? He was like, oh, nah, that's not what I wasn't really trying to. Yeah, I think I'm gonna switch seats.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a long ride home, except it's not gonna be a long ride home.
Exactly.
Very short.
What? I mean, again, it's not the first time anybody's seen this, right? So when you see him wake up on the hospital bed, the doctor comes over and starts asking some really, like, I feel like random questions. Like, I don't know who designed the questions for this doctor to ask, but he's asking really random questions. And I'll tell you what, I really love this shot too because they have it set where you're looking just over the other side of a gurney, right? And you're seeing people work on this person. You don't know exactly what's going on, and he's just kind of looking at it as he answers these questions, and then the person in the foreground begins to bleed out.
Yeah.
Right? And he's, you know, asking him like, why are you asking me these questions? And he's like, well,
hey, look, dude.
It looks like you're about to be
survivor.
Yeah. You're getting ready to be the only survivor, and you don't even have a scratch
or nothing.
Right? And he seems like I think initially for me, I think what seemed to be phasing him about what was going on appeared to be like a survivor's remorse.
Kind of thing.
And you know, as he's walking past all of these people who just maybe seem to be waiting to hear if anybody else is going to walk out of there besides him. You know, his son, again, a lot of foreshadowing in this.
Oh yeah,
is watching the news.
Again. I haven't seen this in a while.
What's wrong, Jokes?
Oh, hey.
Got our friends back in the chat.
Yeah, I see.
Come out of here.
So do it from this one. Oh, buddy.
That's fine.
It's not popping up on the screen. We're good. Yeah, only we can see it.
Oh, true.
I mean, it's probably in like
it's on the tube, so that's why
it's on YouTube. Yeah,
about to go to the tube. Get the
boot. Mess with it. But yeah, his son is watching Powerpuff Girls, and which is, I guess, so 2000. And a little Jerry Springer.
Yeah, I know, right?
I can look trashy. I'm trashy.
Straight up. Am I classy? I ain't the only one. And that's the move. Sin, do it again.
Yeah. So you got the move for this one. Frosty had to move last time.
Yeah, now it's your turn.
Yeah. And then sees the news about this train derailment and that is train like 117 and he goes and he looks and you see it and it's like, oh snap, okay.
Yeah.
Put two and two together.
Mm-hmm.
Pops was on that.
Walks out, he runs up, hugs his father, and they walk out, right? And it's not.
Oh nah, dude, you forgetting that part though, bro. That joint got me.
What's
when
that?
she came up to him and she grabbed his hand and like, no, my bad. The son had to put
Their
his
hands
hands together.
Yeah.
and then she let that joint go. I was like, this dude just got off a train. He the only one that's, and you like, get this guy. I'm like, wow, that started the movie off real quick.
I feel you, Domingo.
Mm-hmm.
Yo,
It's a real moment.
Even the part after that, when they got in the house, oh, she had me hot.
Oh yeah.
She had me hot.
So I know you were just in this like horrific train accident, but how'd that job interview go? What?
I'm going to sleep.
Sent the dude upstairs. My man, I said, oh, y'all in the same room? You just gonna fold up clothes and just let him go upstairs?
I would have been walking up those stairs like,
Yep.
It was yeah, I mean she's you know, probably trying to I don't think she knew what to say to him.
Damn, not that. Don't say
I don't think
Right.
I don't
Yeah.
think
not do that.
listen, I didn't say she picked well, bruh. I'm just saying
She
like
just threw something out there. She wanted to say something, but it was like, unfortunately, it just probably wasn't the best thing that she could have led with.
you know, we don't. Here's the thing that I do love about the way that these movies are set up is that like we have no idea what the actual history is of what went wrong.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know any of that.
Mm-hmm.
And part of what I also think is beautiful about this movie is that the relationship between David and Audrey is core to the story, even though you don't really realize it at first.
Right.
Because where they are in their relationship, even though they don't really outrightly say it, seems to have a lot to do with him being resentful towards her for him not continuing his career in football, even though it was a decision that he made.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but she's not, but he doesn't blame her because she's not aware that he made that sacrifice for her.
Right.
So that they could be together. And he can't tell her that he made that sacrifice for her because he lied about it.
Right.
And at this point in the story, like, you don't really know any of that, right? He's still a dude who just survived the train crash who just said he don't like football. Like, he don't know nothing about sports. So you don't know anything about him playing sports or about him. And so the tension that exists in their relationship and Bruce Willis in David Dunn as a character, he has disassociated everything. This is a man who doesn't even he's literally just like being dragged through life. He doesn't even know that he's never been sick.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
The fact that he had to he had to ask everyone when was the last time I was sick?
Took a sick day.
Yeah. Dang.
And I think that all kicks off really, which ties in pretty good to the villain side of it. You know, he didn't really realize, or he probably knew when he got off the train that he had that way. Oh, here we go again from the car accident part. But when Sam Jackson comes into the fold and sends that note on his car and he sees him, he lets him know that we already know who you are. Now you got to find out who you are. It's kind of like, you know, the villain gave him the will to think like he used to and say, you're a superhero, right? But you just don't want to admit it. So now we're going to start the whole thing off and then everything starts to come together from that part, all because Sam Jackson came in and put that thought in his head, which he already knew. So that's what was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, I don't even think Sam Jackson knows that yet. He
Mhm.
doesn't know
He's-
that for sure
He's
yet.
still
Right,
trying
Right,
to.
right.
He's still trying to feel it out.
Yeah.
But the fact
He's
that
asking the question
Mhm.
so that he'll do the research so that he can get the answer that he's looking
Mhm.
for, right? Which is, I think I found my guy because he survived and nobody else did. But I need to know some things, right? Because
Yeah, I know
even
for
when
sure,
they go
yeah.
and they sit down in the room with him, and he brings his son, and he's like, you know, have you ever been? He's like, you know, and his son is like, nah, yeah, remember you got hurt that one time, right? And it's like a story his son wasn't around for, right? Him getting hurt. Like,
Mhm.
remember you had to go to the hospital because of whatever, and Sam Jackson's like, oh, well then, you know what I
that
mean?
theory
And
is
there's
out
a
the
piece of
window.
women there like, oh, you're not my guy.
You just
You
got
know what I mean?
super lucky.
But the again, this is a person who just, I think everything up to that car accident in college, I think he just blocked everything. Like he just, and from that moment on, he's no longer happy. And I think he thought in that moment that he was doing something that was going to make him happy, which was give him the opportunity to be with Audrey.
Yeah.
Right? Because she, for whatever reason, again, she's in school to be, you know, to help people.
Yeah.
And football is about hurting people or hurting the other person, right?
Mhm.
And they had clearly already had a discussion that was, I can't be with somebody who plays football.
I thought that was stupid.
I think that's why he went into security, just to keep some
Because-
kind of taste in that type of world or something. Like, this is kind of what I want to do, so this is the closest I
This
can
is
get.
as close I can get to it.
Yeah.
And still.
I think this is probably going to go through another way. I'm gonna try to keep it simple. I think every man that takes a bride loses a bit of themselves when they take that part. If your spouse isn't really about your love or what you do, you kind of wake up every day like, okay, what's the day going to be? You can't really be happy because you're not really doing what you want to do, and the other person doesn't love or support what you do. And if you keep going through life like that, yeah, it gets to be resentful. Things start to come in your way to do that. I mean, maybe I'm feeling too much on that part, but that's kind of.
I would agree with it 100%.
Yeah.
It goes
I
either way.
I only disagree in the fact that you're specifically saying when a man takes a bride. I think it's
It goes either
anybody.
way.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think it's specific to one way or the other. I think anybody who gets into a relationship with somebody and there are things that they love to do and the other person doesn't support those things, you know, it's one thing to not support it. It's a whole other thing to be staunchly against it. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
it isn't just that she doesn't want the person who she's going to marry or to spend her life with to be somebody that plays football. She won't let their son play football. Like, they probably can't watch football in the house. They don't, whatever.
Yeah.
He even said, you know what your mom would say if she caught you playing
Oh,
football.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
she's
Exactly.
very much against it. Yeah.
I said, I think you
all
make a
that
good
noise.
point about him, like, taking the security job. I don't necessarily think the security job was about him. When you say being a part of, I don't think the security portion of it was that. I think it allowed him to be close to the stadium.
Yeah.
Like, he took
That
a security
too. Yeah.
job.
I think all of that plays into it. Yeah. Like, he's still close to football. He gets to, once in a blue moon, probably like get intense with somebody. You know what I mean? And it's not necessarily like she doesn't consider it like a I don't like what you do for a living type of thing. Like,
I don't even know if it's really that as much as I think that I think that what Mr. Glass is trying to say to him, because he says to him, like, why do you think you chose a job of security? Because you're supposed to be saving people. Because football wouldn't have done that for him, right?
No.
So I think the idea, the concept is that maybe if he'd have continued to play football, right, he could have been famous, or, you know, he'd have had a great shot at, you know, going to the NFL or, you know, whatever. But that doesn't necessarily mean he would be helping or saving people. So it doesn't necessarily mean that the path that his life went on wasn't the intended direction for him to end up in a job where he's doing the kind of thing where he does protect people. The difference is that he didn't choose to be a police officer, right? He didn't choose to join the military, right? He picked a security guard. So he is protecting people, but it's at the football stadium, at the college football stadium, right? so that he could stay close to the thing that he really enjoyed doing, that piece of him that he lost when he decided, I'm not
step
gonna
away, yeah, and
exactly,
just,
you know what I
be with
mean?
Audrey, yeah.
Because again, he obviously, he could have done any of those things. He could have decided to get into, he could have gone FBI, you know what I mean? Like he could have gone police, he could have gone any of those routes, any other route that was something like security, but would be more than just being quote unquote security at football games, which doesn't really do you a whole lot of good when it's not football season.
Working with the armored truck, driving an armored truck or being in the back
right.
of
He
the
could
armored truck.
he could have been doing any number of things, right? That would have been in that same lane. I think that the fact that he does what he does is a little bit more personal to his story. And might have been the only thing that he was able to hold on to that in a weird way it gives the impression that she took it from him. But she didn't.
Right.
He gave it
up. It was his choice. Yeah, it was his choice.
He gave it up, right? And who knows? Like, for all we know, they had the discussion in the car right before the accident happened. Could have been that they that they was about to break up, or she was about to be like, look, I can't do this, right? And then this thing happens that forces them together, right? There's this accident that happens that, now he has this opportunity.
I can't play football anymore because of the accident. Like,
right. In the same way that she comes to him later at night and knocks on his door and says, you just had this accident. You could have been killed. It feels like a second chance, right? Like, I think her coming to him in that light is in a way mirroring him coming to a decision
after the first accident.
Yeah, and saying, okay, this is a chance for us to be together. Yep. And maybe this is quote unquote God's way of saying, this is giving me an opportunity to keep this woman in my life.
Yeah.
And then she comes back to him later after this accident and says, we were on the splits, you're about to leave. Maybe this is the universe's way of saying that we should have another chance. Let's try again. Let's go on a first date. You know what I mean? Or whatever. I think there's definitely some interesting mirroring in there. Elijah Price might just be a straight up creep, though.
100%.
Bro, you fall down these steps. I don't know why you chase a dude when you can have.
Oh my God.
That's what I was saying the entire time. I was like, if my bones are brittle, I'm not.
What are you
going down the stairs? And clearly, he took the vision. He looked down, and he already was like, oh shit.
No, you ain't gonna make it through this. But he speed crutches his ass down there and breaks half his damn body.
Oh,
just to go to the. And I'm pretty sure he probably asked to go to the hospital.
I can't stand bone crunching sounds. So for this whole scene, I was sitting there like,
crunch.
Oh man, chop that out.
Let's go to the hospital and start asking her questions. Oh, I'm nervous. I ask questions when I'm nervous. Yeah, you ask a lot of personal questions.
She's not at the hospital. She was like. That was after the hospital for physical therapy or whatever. That was after the fact.
That's weeks after. Like, you don't go to physical therapy right after trauma like that. Like, but how do you end up with her as his physical therapist? I'm like,
he planned it. Like,
he used the yellow pages.
Once he got there, that was a thing. But hey, Joe, you know what the yellow pages is?
Yes, I do know what the yellow pages is.
He was like, where is there a physical therapist with the last name Dunn?
Right.
And it probably wasn't hard to find.
Nope.
It's weird because, like, the town still seems like a small football town, kind of. You know what I mean, or whatever. It's Philadelphia, but like there are little pockets, in there, or whatever. The way that Bruce Willis's character shows up at limited edition, right? Because of the note that's left on the card.
I wouldn't have taken my kid to that, just saying.
Hey, Slim, me neither.
Yeah. I'm with you 100%.
Like, you go there, you suss out the place first. And then maybe if we make it back,
I don't know
here-
who left
Hey,
this
look, the fact that
note
got
on
so
my
creepy,
car,
he just
but
told his son, "Hey, don't drink that no more. Don't drink that." If you got
Hey, dog,
tell your
that's one of
kid,
the
don't
best
drink the
scenes
water.
in this entire movie. And I go spit that out. Matter of fact, go spit it
go
out.
throw it
Like,
away. Go throw it out.
throw it away and go spit that out. Like go, yeah, because I mean, again, Slim's a creep. You know what I'm saying? They give us the scene where he's a child and he's hurt and he don't even want to go outside no more. Like I'm done, not going outside anymore. And again, you want to empathize with the villain.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know he's a villain
Just yet, yep.
You feel like he is. Hey, Samuel L. Jackson, all his gears fly, bro.
Oh my god, that car interior was
What with the bubble
Yeah.
wrap?
With the, oh my god, I was like, this man lives on pillows.
Gotta have
Hey,
bubble wrap.
The only thing not made out of pillow fluff is the steering wheel and the dash.
That's it. That's it. That's it. Ooh, what is going on in here?
That metallic coat, I want it.
Hey,
I
wow,
was
with
like,
the
where can I
fresh
get
fire
that?
purple on the inside, looking like
he was
Prince.
pimping for
Yeah.
sure.
That's
What?
another thing. Did you catch that? Like the color purple was actually really heavy.
Yeah.
Right.
When it
That was
came.
his thing.
Right.
That was his.
That collar
The-
on the
the
one
gift
like,
wrap.
black jacket.
The gift wrapping in and the inside of the coat was purple. I was like I said,
Yeah.
I did use
I mean,
red
even when
in
he
the
was a
sixth
kid,
sense.
Hey, the
The
villains
brown
usually stay
turtleneck.
fly.
with the purple, always the same color scheme for
Mhm.
him.
That's
And
a villain.
yeah, I mean that's so his mother entices him to go outside to get a new comic book. I got a whole bunch of comic books, and every time you go outside, there'll be one waiting for you there, right? You got to go out there and keep people from stealing it. And so it does help with the origin of this particular villain.
Mm-hmm.
You get an understanding of him being in the comic books and understanding what knowing the ins and outs of comics. But here's one of the other things that I think this movie does that is brilliant. That is a thing that, like, when you do the kind of stuff that we do, and when you know the kind of people that we know, you do recognize these artists as artists and that their work is art. And when my man has that first interaction, and you brought it up, Domingo, and he's first talking about it, you see the issue of the book, and then you see the original drawing and how much more detail there is, and all that kind of stuff. And then he's going into detail about the difference between this is you can see everything. You get all the details. You get all what, and they lose that when they do the first print and whatever. He's going all in it.
Mm-hmm.
They never discuss price. They never talk price at all. But clearly my man's got some money and has been doing well for himself.
Yeah.
And my man says, I'll take it. You made a brilliant decision. My son's going to love it.
Excuse me?
That's the real transaction we get.
Excuse me?
Excuse me?
No.
That right there. No. Just straight up. And my man's just like, what
Get
did
out.
I do? Hey, Slim, you upset Samuel L. Jackson. You about to
Yep.
get
Hey,
You about to get all these
every
F-bombs.
you about to get the first yelling of this whole
Oh.
joint.
That was the only thing that was missing. If he'd
man
looked at
said-
Bruce Willis and said, "Hey, you a superhero," like that, like, that was the only thing that
He
was missing.
said,
Mm.
do you see toys in here?
This is not a toy store.
Is there a little Asian girl holding the blanket that you put? in the
Oh
thing
my
with the
god,
port?
riding the pony. I was like, dang.
Went to the whole thing. I was like, that's wild.
That was real.
Oh no, he broke his ass down.
But you get you I mean, it's not a level of insanity. It's just like you see how serious he is,
Definitely.
Yeah.
right? About it, how big of a deal it is to him, how much it matters, how important it is. And you're his look though does help you, recognize how manic he might be, right? I was hurt when my man. I just need to say this. I was hurt. My man. I mean, not that he wasn't hurt, like falling down the steps, but when that beautiful glass cane shattered,
Cane
bro.
shattered?
I can get behind that. When it shattered, I was like, "Oh, that was glass too."
I know, yeah.
That was the foretelling.
That hurt me more than him breaking.
They just didn't show his bones, but they damn sure enough showed you that cane. Like that was him.
Yeah.
That was him right there.
Yeah, we got
Yeah.
So I want to talk about the weightlifting scene.
Mm-hmm.
What's wrong, Sam?
I couldn't stand the son. I'm sorry.
I don't like that scene either.
I hate that little
I
boy.
could not stand that dude the entire.
I did
the
like
boy.
that scene.
Okay.
I didn't like that scene. I hated him, but that once Bruce started, or Dave, I should say, started realizing, it's like I kind of get a little.
I want to send him upstairs so bad.
What else we got? We can put on. What else we got? We can put on there.
So here's what I think is super important about this scene. David, as an adult, again, he's had blinders on probably his entire life. And ever since, especially, he survived that car accident and pretended he got hurt, it seems like he blocked off all kinds of things from before that.
Now, like, he lied about it so much that it's now just truth to him. Like, yeah, I got hurt back there. Like, that was a...
Sure, right? Or he's been telling that story.
Yeah.
But I think what it's doing is speaking to the difference between his son as a child, who the first thing that we see him doing is watching cartoons. So the fact that his son was there when he had the discussion with Elijah the first time, the son is all in. My dad's a superhero. He can't get hurt. He believes it maybe more than Elijah does, because Elijah is still unsure. Right?
He does.
Because it hasn't been proven. The son is about it. Because as a child, he's still in a place where he can believe things like that. He's allowed the freedom to believe that his father can be a superhero. That is completely possible. That his father is oblivious to all harm. That nothing can happen to him. And so even when his father says, "Did you put extra weight on here? Like, get out. No, I got it. I'm gonna take some off. I'll take it off. Let me fix it." And then he doesn't. And he adds more. Yes, and that right there.
And even before that, I was mad before they even went down there. Hey, I told him he was gonna play football. You got it? Like, no, I just got off work. I'm not playing football, bro. Like, stop this.
and again, like we don't know enough about what's transpired for them as a family, other than the fact that we now know that, like, he was on this train because he's coming back from a job interview in New York, right? Probably was on the Northeast Direct, bro. Straight Northeast Direct, bro. And he's ready to move on, right? And whatever it is that happened between them, whether it's just they fell out of love, maybe they had a fight, whatever it is, she even asked him at a point when they go on the first date, does he know that he specifically, like, blocks himself off from her and the son?
Yeah.
Right?
That's what I was going to say. Like, he's obviously been distant towards the kid because they've said it.
Right.
So
and the son is now trying to find a way to connect with his father. Right? And he's doing it through football. He knows his dad used to play football, right? And this guy, they say he can do this, that, and the third, and he about to go pro. You know what I mean? He plays for Temple, he about to go pro, and his dad's like, yeah, I know who he is. You know
that was pretty cool. That throwback to him, like,
ain't full circle, right?
Yeah.
But it also means that he already knew who he was when she first told him about it. Like when he was on the train and you know what I mean, and she told him about it. But it also was kind of like, for him, it's like, well, that was me, because I was, you know what I mean? Like, I was finna go pro, and for him, he's like, nah, I don't even bang with football week. You know what I mean? Like, he just had to. do that to kind of distance himself. And in doing so, he ended up distancing himself from his wife and from the son. And probably because there are things that he wanted to do, like, let me take my son out and throw the ball around with him. Let me play football with him. Let me, do the things that I know how to do as a person.
That I truly love and I'm passionate about.
Let me go do those things with my son. Yeah. And because you're that's gone, right? Like, you won't let him do anything. Now I don't know how to connect to my child. You know what I'm saying? Again, I think there's a lot of like deep things that are seated in here that they just kind of throw at you, and they could be a thing, and maybe they're not.
That's why I like
him being that excited. He's like, "Hey y'all, I can't play, y'all. I'm about to go lift weights with my dad." Like, stop!
Like, stop, man.
I'm about to go lift weights with my dad.
You're doing too much.
I know y'all playing football with him, but I'm about to go lift weights. My dad can't even get hurt. Like, in his head, he's still like,
like this.
Yeah,
like
he's
Colossus out here. Like, we out here.
My dad is impenetrable.
But again, it does speak to the fact that, and we're jumping around a little bit, but the first thing David does after he saves this family is tell his son.
Tell his son.
Yeah.
He found a way to connect with his son. Check it out. He was right. Yeah, I'm the guy.
I like the subtleness of it. Like,
You
can't get the guy look like.
And
then just don't.
This is our secret. Like, they now have a secret with each other. That is.
Maybe get closer to your mic. Hello? Get closer to your mic. Yeah, you're just like kind of far. Yeah.
Oh, my bad. Well, that's one of the reasons why I like it, because maybe, like I said, I may be feeling a little bit too much, but I got a son. And the thing is, like, I felt like some things got taken. So sitting around with my son about something that I love and that he loves, and sharing that moment, and your son believing in you, but you got to believe in yourself. And then when he comes back, you had that little shot of orange juices on the side. You see the paper just slide up like that.
Across.
Yeah. And he looking like, what do you want? And then he reads it, and he looks at him. And then what I put down? My man say, "Yo, you were right." Just real stuff. And you see that tear come from him. It's like, yo.
But he has the tears in his eyes too, right? Because he hasn't been able to connect with his son. Right. And he blames his wife for that. Even again, though he made the decision.
Right. But I mean, it's I think it's different. Just like you said, it's different because like he decided to do it. But he decided to do it because it was such a big thing to that. But that still doesn't take away that even he decided, it doesn't take away the, I'm not gonna say guilt, but the I think Elijah said a thing about it. Basically, him not being able to do something that he loves to do, that he was good at, because he wants to. And what Elijah said, for a woman, you did that for that. It's like
you did, yeah.
It's like you said to yourself that that's what you do. Now it could be both ways, but again, like I said before, I said the last time, maybe I was feeling too much in that part. So I'm coming.
Well, I mean, I think but I think that's the point, though.
Yeah.
Right. Like, if the movie does that, right?
It's doing
like,
what it's supposed to.
Yeah.
I don't know if you should be at an 8. Maybe you should be a little bit higher.
Yeah, everybody has scenes in movies that they're gonna resonate more than other people just because of their past and life experiences they've been through.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
I mean, it is. Again, for me, seeing that moment between him and his son, and him, I'm positive there are people who watch and be like, "Man, I get it. Like, he just saved, these kids, right? Because both their parents was dead. The wife was dead, unfortunately, right? But I'm positive there's a lot of people like, why is he crying though? You know what I'm saying? And as an older adult, compared to like when you first watch this movie or when I first watched this movie, it does resonate differently, right, than it did the first time I saw it, because I don't think the first time I saw it, I recognized it as he's actually having his first moment with his son where they're connected on something, because they haven't been able to connect on anything
else.
The dad doesn't play. They're not playing video games together. The mother probably wouldn't even let that. She'd probably be like violence, right? Like, there is Yeah. So
it's so weird too, because like on the date, David's like, I don't know, like something doesn't feel right. But then like after he saves that family, he's carrying her up the stairs and he's like, I had a nightmare. And he's like trying to reconnect with her on some sort of level, like from their very beginning. Like,
but I also think it was that, they talked about him and Elijah had that conversation about him waking up every morning with that like sadness, like something was missing every day.
Yeah.
He's been dealing with that every day since he told that lie about not being hurt in that car accident. Right. And in that moment when he comes home, hey Slim, listen. He walked in the door. I was like, "Oh, he about to go upstairs and slay this joint." He ain't there yet. He had an AM. I'm unbreakable. He had that moment. Like, yo, I'm unbreakable.
Like, I'm a hero.
I'm about to go upstairs and show you something, Slim.
Right. Try and break me tonight.
And that, listen, and that was my expectation as they going up the steps, because she just looking like, okay, we're going. And then it turns into a much more subtle,
vulnerable,
heartfelt moment of him going back to her and saying, I had a nightmare. And her saying, it's over now, right? Because he had that conversation with her sitting down.
Yeah.
And she asked him, when was the first time you knew it wasn't going to work with us?
When I couldn't tell you I was having nightmares.
The first time I woke up and didn't tell you, right? And didn't look for you to tell me it was going to be okay, right? And so she did. And he literally just lived the nightmare. He followed a man home who murdered a man, broke into the house, is stealing their mail and hiding their mail, has the children tied up in a bedroom, bathroom, has done who knows what to the wife. She's been tied up for how long? This is a nightmare scenario to walk into. Mind you, this movie comes out like it was a scary movie that came out where the killer was wearing the fisherman's joint.
I know what you did last summer.
I know what you did last summer. And I was like, hey, yo, they really just took the I know what you did last summer scary man joint and turned him into the superhero. Like, he showed up in the rain under the rain joint, like, man,
because his weakness is water.
Because his weakness is water, so he wears a raincoat, bro.
Hey.
You know what my first instinct would not be, as somebody who is vulnerable to water, standing right over a fucking pool, not knowing where the bad guy is.
But can I tell you that I don't think okay, so you right. You right, Frosty. But I don't think he realized it was a pool, like, because of the way the pool was covered. I don't think he realized it at first, like when he walked out there. Like,
he must be dumb.
I mean,
what are you talking about?
All right, listen. If you walked into a room and you seen this lady and you thought he just walked in there and the window was open, I mean, one, it's already dumb for you to be in there, but I guess you unbreakable. So like, all right. But you walk out to the balcony. You don't know there's going to be a pool on the other side of the balcony when you walk out there.
He just stands there looking down. Is my problem.
That was for...
It's surrounded by concrete.
But you don't think you're going to get thrown from up there to land in the pool. So that's
you should have paid attention to his surroundings. He's in the house somewhere. You ain't paying attention to nothing around you, bro.
Again, he doesn't... Listen. He's a rookie, y'all. He doesn't know this stuff.
This is year one.
I feel you, but the whole water thing just didn't make sense to me.
Can I tell you that when he went and he climbed over the fence and was like breaking into the joint, and he went and he looked at the wreckage from the plane. When he climbed over the fence, I thought he was going to the pool. I thought he went to the school because his son had tried to, stand up with somebody. And he was like, you can't let people. And I thought maybe because I'm your son that, like, what I'm saying, maybe me too. And again, he's blocked everything out that's like ever happened to him.
Right.
Post that accident. And the lady's like, oh, you don't remember me, do you?
Yeah. He totally blocked her out.
That whole story about the kid that almost drowned. It's like he's heard that story a bunch of times. even since it happened and doesn't know the story is about him.
Realize it's him.
Right? Until she says it to him. And so, like, after that, I thought, oh, my man about to go to the pool and see, can he swim? He about to go try to get over his fear, right? Because he does say that he's scared of pool, like he doesn't.
He's scared of water, yeah.
I guess another thing, with Spidey sense, if you can walk past somebody and think they got drugs or think they got a gun on them, you couldn't sense the dude behind you that shift you over in the pool?
Well, they had to touch you, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, it only worked when somebody touched them. You know what I'm saying? And they don't really show you how it's happening in his mind the first time it happens when he's walking with Elijah, right? They walking next to the crowd. He gets the bump. And then the thing I love about it is that everything gets quiet. Like, it just from a, you know, like all the audio just drops. And you get this moment of him just turning and looking, right? And it's like, okay. And then he just, for him, again, he has these subtle things that he can do, but he's not even thinking about it. He doesn't really pay attention to it. So he just walks up to the guy and says, hey, let's pat down. And the dude's like, oh, yeah, all right. You know what I mean? And then he just waits. And I think it's one of the coolest moments in the entire movie because they just wait. And Elijah just stands there and you get this beautiful shot of the two of them standing next to each other, just kind of waiting. And then him very, very calmly just being like, you know, sometimes we have trouble. People try to bring guns in and then they drink a little bit. It gets rowdy. You know, and so, you know, we pat down, not really to catch him with it, but to deter it, you know, just to kind of scare me. So, you know, if he's carrying, he'll get out of line. You know what I mean? And he's not interested in chasing him or saying anything to him or pursuing it any further. He just wants him to get out of the line. He's just trying to prevent it and protect everybody inside from getting hurt. That's all he's trying to do is protect people, right? So he has not graduated to a place of saving people. He's just protecting people and has been doing it probably the whole time, unbeknownst to him, until Elijah says to him, you got pretty good sense, a sixth sense for that kind of stuff. Right? You know, it's just, then he starts to believe it, right? It's as those little tidbits kick in, then he starts to believe it. He starts to, and he says, like, all right, you might be right. So what do I do? Go wherever people are. You'll figure it out. So he goes to the train station, right?
Good place.
All these people. And my man is getting brushed and seeing some terrible, terrible things.
Oh.
And I'm going to keep it a buck with you. It's some things that my man seen I wouldn't have been able to let go.
Yeah.
I know.
Feel him in the beginning. I'm thinking, like, dude, that's a good one right there for you to go ahead and experiment with. I don't want to say it wasn't as serious, obviously, as the one that we get to in the end, but that's where you kind of get your feet wet. Like, well, maybe
right. Yeah, you don't go straight for the murderer.
Well, he got his feet wet, all right. He got his ass stuck in that pool.
You know, look, he follows my man. And here's the thing. My man is straight up wearing like an orange jail jumpsuit.
Okay, am I the only person that thought that was straight up? Did my man just break out, assume like somebody's
like,
look,
I guess that's the uniform
for uniforms ever. They look
Philadelphia
like
train station is
train station convicts.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, in the long run, you know, once this happens, and then we get to this point where he's ready to go and talk to Elijah, and his mother shows back up for the first time, and you know, begins to have this discussion, you know, with him. And you know, he tells him, yeah, he's here. And then here's the thing, man. Elijah go hard, bro. He just had all that stuff sitting out or at his desk.
Yeah.
Like just
that joke ain't hit it or nothing. It's just all
there's
around.
No stay out signs. There's no freaking door.
No.
Like, nah,
Okay.
it's fine.
Just at the end of a hallway. It's just all for everybody to see.
I mean, it's down a series of ramps. You know what I'm saying? He was balling down them joints too.
Yeah, he was.
He was balling down
He
them joints.
practiced in that wheelchair. He was like,
He did.
going hard on
He
this.
did.
I thought about that. I was like, hey, Sam Jackson really put his time in. He got good in that wheelchair, bro. And, you know, it's just out at his desk. Like, hey, listen, the newspaper clippings, I'm cool with. the blueprints I'm almost cool with.
Why do you got blueprints, my dude? Nah,
The-
nah,
The,
that
the
the bomb
the
making
bomb making
material,
stuff.
bruh.
oh, bomb making material. That's it. That's the stuff you keep hidden. You know, extra fold out table or something that keeps it hidden away.
Secret door.
Yeah. But again, this is a man who's manic and is searching for who he is
One.
Yeah.
and needed to know I'm the villain. I got it. I have a reason. It's very Joker and Batman. It really
Very
is.
much.
Yeah.
It's very, very Joker and Batman.
I loved how he said, you know, the enemy, you know, typically are friends, and it's like you and me are friends. Like this is the catalyst right here to having the hero and to having the villain here.
Mhm.
Let's continue the story.
Let's do it. And you know, he turns him in and who knows what happens right after that.
I
And
love that.
at that moment, right? It's like, hey, we really did probably just witness the best. Not at all, bro. You know, it really does wrap up at the end, and it's like, hey, this might be the cleanest superhero origin story I've ever seen. It might really be. It's super cliche, but you don't know it.
Right.
A little weird not hearing that from Sam Jackson. I'm sure he dropped plenty of them while they was filming. We just didn't get the we didn't get the camera. I would love to see like behind the scene bloopers of this joint and him just yeah, you don't again when you already know when you watch it, it's obvious. But when you don't have any idea,
You think he's really helping him, like he's trying to
Kinda-
guide him down the path.
You kind of don't really know exactly what level it actually is to it. I mean, 'cause for real, like when I saw it, and I watched it last night, but I watched it in pieces. And when I sat down and watched it all again, I didn't really remember the twist to it. I knew that that's what M. Night does to it. I remember The Sixth Sense, and I remember walking out of seeing that, like, oh my God, that's crazy. And it was, and you didn't want to tell nobody, hey, you got to watch the movie. I'm not going to tell you anything about it. And it's like when I saw this, I said, damn, that's the twist. But he said, well, I guess we should shake hands then. And I said, well, okay, he's going to touch me.
Right there.
What is he going to see? And then when I was watching it, even the first part, when something blew up and he was sitting down, and I was like, okay, what's that got to do with anything? Then the guy telling him the stuff in the bar, and I said, what's that got to do with anything? And then when I saw him get off the train, it's like, we don't have passengers in there. And I was like, oh
yeah.
okay. So I was like that. I said, wow, I don't remember feeling this way in the theater, but it's been a long time. I probably felt that way at first, but I had a resurgence of it. Like, damn, that was pretty good. I like that twist.
Him saying like, you killed all those people.
Slowly backing away off of it.
I found a hero. Right. And you know, we talk a lot about, you know, with comic books about how, you know, the hero oftentimes creates the villain.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes vice versa. And in this case, that's what we have. We really have a villain who is looking for himself, creating a story for himself, knowing that he has a place here. I found my opposite. I'm not just nobody, you know what I mean, or whatever. Like the train that he's on is train 117. The issue that he gives him of the comic book with the security dude or whatever is issue 117. There's a lot of that kind of stuff like laced throughout the movie.
Yeah.
And like you wouldn't necessarily catch if you're not.
Yeah, and even when you switch the scenes between each other, you got to know something's happening because like if he's a baby and he's basically broken, then you go to David, he's on the train and he's basically, you know, whatever, lives for the train. Every time they show it, it's always polar opposites of each one of the scenes. So who's going to be who? But what Frosty is saying, like, you know, in the beginning, taking his ring off, oh, he might go be the douchebag of the show. Exactly. And maybe Elijah's going to turn around and do that. But then when you find out that it's the opposite, it's just a really, really good tie-in to how it does everything. And then just like it just all summed up by comic books. That's a great thing.
Think that it is. I think that it is a superhero origin story that doesn't feel like a superhero story at all. because it's so grounded in regular everyday. We have a man and a woman who are separating, who aren't, it's not working, right? Whatever reason, something happened however many years ago. It's a thing that, again, in the back of his mind, he blames her for, whatever. But again, a decision that he made. It's a sacrifice that he made for her that she's unaware of. And she can't make it up to him.
Right.
Because she doesn't know.
Doesn't even know
that he quote unquote made this sacrifice for her, right? So it's not like he said to her, listen, as much as I love football, I love you more. And I would rather be with you than play football, right? And if he had said those words and she said, okay, maybe everything is different, right? And
True.
They can watch football games on Sundays and he can have the fellas over and, whatever, right? But because the whole thing is predicated on a secret or on a lie, he has to live that and maintain that the entire rest of the time. And he can't say, oh, well, I wasn't hurt, right? Because it cost him. I don't know if I would assume he was on a scholarship. You know what I mean? Maybe it cost him his scholarship. If he was that good, and he should have been that good, right? Because we now know how strong he is, sort of, right? 350 pounds isn't that impressive right now. It's not, right? But in the moment, right, as it's just kind of happening and they just keep piling it on, like, again, like, we have superhero movies now. Like, they, a dime a dozen. The things that we're seeing them do is like 350 pounds, like, I mean, okay.
When you think about the fact that he hasn't worked out in however long
at all.
And all that kind of stuff.
He's just a typical Joe Schmo, not got that physique and all that.
You kind of have to remind yourself that you are watching like an older movie and it's about a guy who's just been complacent in life.
I'm about to put this
exactly.
This is one thing. I kind of.
Here's the thing. I don't think he has super strength.
He doesn't have super strength. No,
he's strong.
Yeah, just
right. But he doesn't have.
He didn't break that
he didn't
hole,
kill
no
him.
matter how
I think.
many
Well,
times
here's the other thing. He didn't kill him. He was just trying to. It was a blood
kill him.
He was trying to incapacitate him. He wasn't trying to kill him. I do think that if he wanted to kill him, he could have killed him, and it would have gone a lot faster. Like, I think it could have been done faster than that. Who knows, man? Like, maybe he had the arm of all arms and could throw the ball like it was nobody's business. You know what I mean? Like,
I meant through like a 70-yard touchdown pass, got the school record, something like.
Right, just all of that. You know what I mean? Just all tossed away so that he could, again, like Elijah said, for a woman, for a woman, he's unbreakable. Yes, indeed. Unless he's in water.
Because if he's in water
softens him up. They both have the same weakness, right? They both scared of water.
Apparently.
Hey, son, they from your favorite show.
No, I said that earlier. I said, what the devil fruit is this? Like,
they from your favorite show.
Water is their weakness.
So, yeah, I mean, again, I think this movie is... I'm still at an 8. I think it's a solid 8 for me. I really like it. I think it's really well told. I think not just considering the time, but even now, I think as an origin story, when we get origin stories all the time and we see tons of superheroes all the time, I think that this really does stand out as a very unique take on a story like that. And so I'm at 8. Let's go around the horn again. Frosty, where are you?
I'll give a number this time. I'm still at it. I'm 8 is essentially what I would say a B+.
All right. Jokes?
Still at an 8.
Sin?
I'm still at a 7.
Okay. And Domingo?
Still at 8.
Okay. We all like it. Good. I think it's worth the watch. I would encourage anybody who has not seen either of the follow-ups to this film. I would highly encourage that you you do that.
Agreed.
They're
Never seen
they,
them.
Maybe
Days
not the
really-
last one, but you got to see him. Got to watch it. So
yeah. A 2.1 or was that a 21?
21
I
out
think
of
Marcus said 21.
21.
21.
out of.
No, I don't get. Hey, listen,
Yeah.
we don't.
Yeah. I don't know that math, sir.
Yeah, it's not working for me. All right, so listen, I want to thank everybody for hanging out with us this evening while we had our discussion about Unbreakable here in the movie club. There is a lot brewing over the next couple of weeks, so keep your eyes peeled. We will be live here tomorrow for Loaded Snacks Weekly. But it is a special version. Thank you for that. Like, share, subscribe thing. Special edition Loading Snacks Weekly. We will be creating our characters for D&D, which we will be playing on Saturday, November 5th for Extra Life. We will be doing Extra Life on the 4th, the 5th, and the 6th. 3 days, 8 hours, possibly some extra hours on Saturday coming up. So we'll be doing some character creation tomorrow with Frosty and our good friend J Mark, who's going to be our DM for D&D. So please tune into that. Don't expect us to be here talking about news. Expect us to be here
creating some characters.
I already have thoughts on mine, and I'm really hoping that it's gonna turn out okay.
Are you excited?
I am. I'm really
Good.
excited.
Okay.
Good. I think it's going to be a good time. So we will see you all tomorrow for Loading Snacks Weekly. Again, thank you for tuning in to Loading Snacks Movie Club. This has been our discussion on Unbreakable. We are out. Hey, Jokes, can you do it? Can you say it?
I think so.
I
And
do
remember,
it.
y'all, just because you have a well thought out plan doesn't make it a good idea.
Let's put it on a shirt. We're out. Toodles and Louie.
Loading snacks.